what they're working on, or maybe even understand how they're feeling? Want to gather all that data and have it sent directly to Google Sheets for management reporting, or post it to social media so your supporters are kept up to date, but don't have the time, resources, or even the right technology to do this easily? Introducing Task, a mobile-first software platform that allows you to create projects in seconds that connect you directly to your remote teams via their smartphones. Simply register your account and launch your first project. Invite your team in and start gathering data that allows you to drive business success. You can include points and rewards to keep teams motivated, and with social sharing options, your teams will become the brand ambassadors you need. Whether you're a nonprofit tracking volunteer activity, a teacher encouraging student well-being, or a business that needs to grab real-time data from teams in the field, Task is a simple and cost-effective way to get going. Browse our ready-made projects to find one that suits your needs, set up a trial, and get tasking today. Or drop us a line if you'd like a product demonstration. Email us at hello@task.io or visit our website task.io for more information now.
Yes, folks, that was Task. And I'm really looking forward to talking with them today. It's really a great project. And we're going to learn a lot about what they are doing today. But don't forget, coming up shortly here, we've got Badali that is going to be here on 420. So you don't want to miss that 420. The CEO, co-founder of Badali is going to be here live with us. Also, want to let you guys know that special announcement. I've been doing these lives for a long time. There is a lot of content out there. And finally, after so much requests, it's all going to have a home. I plan on launching this week. All of my lives, podcasts will be on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, everywhere. So be on the lookout for that. I plan on posting some links, getting that out there. I appreciate all the support. But let's go ahead and get ready on the show and meet Steve Walker and Matt, co-founders of Task. How you guys doing today?
Great. Yeah, great to be here,
good.
Sam.
Yeah,
great
good. Thanks, Sam.
I mean,
good. Cheers for having us on.
Happy Coinbase direct listing day. That's a big day
let's
in
happens.
the crypto world.
Indeed.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it is.
A bit of earthing, by the way. Bit of mic earthing.
Okay, you guys. Let's see here.
That's it. Better.
Let's see. There we go. Is that better?
That's it. Gone. All good.
All right. Perfect.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Technical issues are always good.
It's always good especially when it's live. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
So hey, go ahead. I want to give a quick introduction to both of you. Steve Walker, why don't you start off on your end and let us know a little bit about your history?
Yeah, great. Well, my name's Steve. I'm the CEO of Task. My background is in the startup space. I've been in startups since 2003. I started a SaaS business 2007. That's still running. That's in the recruitment sector, and that was great. It's been a great business to be involved in, but life has evolved to wanting to use tech skills to build technology that produces positive outcomes, commercially valid, and that's been the journey that's led through to Task today, and yeah, comes up to where we are right now. Over to you, Matt.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Matt Rickards. Please introduce yourself to the community.
Yeah, cheers, Sam. Obviously, named Matt. I'm Steve's business partner, co-founder of Task. Came into the business about 6 months after Steve. We've known each other. In fact, funny, we're business partners, but we've known each other about 35 years, if I get that right. We were neighbors many moons ago. I didn't really want to share how old we are, but there you go. It was quite a while ago. Originally from the UK, had a career predominantly in tech for kind of 25 plus years. And that took me from kind of Sydney up to Singapore. Been in Thailand now for 6 years. And yeah, my career was in traditional tech, really, CRM, kind of sales management. And then in about 2007, 2008, I did a bit of extracurricular stuff around humanitarian work, which got me into an NGO for a couple of years, but it was never a full-time gig. It was always, kind of in parallel to the profession. But that kind of took me on a different path in terms of technology, and spent 7 or so years in the donor management space. So technology for nonprofits, hence the kind of relevance to Task and what we're doing today. So.
Well, and a little background too, guys. One of the reasons why I was so excited about this project when I saw it is that I had a long history with nonprofits myself. I've chaired on several boards. I've worked with children. I've worked in disadvantaged areas. And so when I saw the creative use that you guys were bringing to the table of utilizing blockchain, and of course the Stellar blockchain to help organizations that are out there trying to do good, it really caught my eye, and I'm really excited to share it with everybody. Can you explain a little bit?
We appreciate. Sorry, after you.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I was just going to say that this whole everything that we're going through at the moment with technology is fascinating, because we have an opportunity to start to reinvent some of these models. And if you look at the non-profit arena, the work that you'll have been involved in, there's a lot of good things going on, but there's a lot of problems that need fixing. And with the work that is happening in the blockchain / smart contract area, it's huge opportunity for us right now, and I think it's a very exciting place to be in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's perfect, honestly, that on a day when a lot of people are focusing on one aspect of blockchain, the Wall Street side of it, that we're going to showcase the good side and great opportunities that you can do with the technology. So let's start off. Let's say, I guess, Matt, if you want to start off with this, can you explain the problem that Task is trying to solve?
Yeah, sure, Sam. Look, we're a tech platform, and we provide access to remote data for organizations with social projects. I say organizations with social projects because predominantly we're in the nonprofit space, but it's not just the nonprofit space. It could be a business with a sustainability manager who has remote teams and they've got data. So, with our platform, we're able to, allow those program managers, sustainability managers to easily connect with a remote team via mobile, have them engage in activities that they track via that mobile, provide rewards. Those activities are stored on a blockchain ledger. The data is used for reporting, both for internal management reporting or presenting to donors or other stakeholders. So, yeah, really providing kind of easy access to that data, cutting down on admin, so time and cost, and that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That's great. That's great. And so, if possible, can you maybe describe the ways that NGOs were going through this process in the past?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and I think really, we say in the past, but it's today. I mean, clients, prospects we talk to today, we're solving that problem for them now. And before, really, it's about multiple systems, right? We're trying to get everything down to one system. So if you're gathering data, email, phone calls, WeChat, WhatsApp, that is a convoluted way of getting that data. The other problem, which is what we solve, is the transparency around that data, the reliability. So by using Task to engage those teams, gather the data in one platform and have it tracked on blockchain, you're also verifying on a ledger what's actually been done, and that is there for many years into the future. So yeah, the problem is still there. There's plenty of administration overheads with any organization, and we really help to kind of eradicate those and make it way easier to engage those teams and report and get a true data source.
Absolutely, and to like I said, for myself who work with nonprofits, and I'm sure anyone listening out there that's worked in that field, I know one of the hardest things that we had was we wanted to get more money coming in to help kids. I worked, for instance, with the Guardian Ad Litem program, which dealt specifically with at-risk children. And we wanted to try to bring in some more more dollars, some corporate funding, but the more money you get in to try to help your goal, you've got to track that data, right? You've got to be able to track it and show the impact, and and this is gonna make it happen. So prior to the
There's,
show, I
I
had a
was,
chance to download the app. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, in terms of obviously the transparency provides a great opportunity for nonprofits to, kind of improve those relationships with donors and increase funding. But the other key piece, which I know is going to come out over the call, is really the kind of fintech aspect where, nonprofits, but there's also social enterprises that are pushing funds into the field where you're actually, you got farmers on the other end of that process where you're incentivizing a new way of doing things to improve environment, to improve the environment, improve livelihoods. So that funding aspect is also really key. It's and we'll talk about those use cases later, probably after Steve's shown the app. But yeah, there's two pieces there. Definitely really important that non-profits are able to be transparent, but social enterprises that have real business models around these processes, I think that's the real kind of key development area for us as a business.
Very nice, very nice. I had an opportunity to download the app, and I'm really excited to show folks exactly what it looks like here. And so this is the app. I've got a chance to register and play around with it, and as you can see, folks, it's very smooth. Hey, look, it's Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. That's great. That was a great discussion you guys had, by the way, on NFTs. That's awesome. So Steve, man, what am I looking at here?
Okay, well, I mean, before we talk about the mobile, I mean, it's important to say that life at Task begins on the desktop in the sense that you can launch an initiative, configure a custom data tracking initiative from the desktop. And in the desktop, we also have dashboards, custom dashboards, which allow the organization to show off what the impact they're looking to report on. So life begins there. You can start to configure other payments that you're going to be providing to people completing activities, various other stuff that I won't go into. However, that all comes to the users who typically experience Task using the mobile app.
Nice.
We did a real simple demo earlier where you did a simple activity in the projects. If you go into the projects and into the start here, then what we look to do is try and create a custom onboarding experience for each initiative that's launched by a customer. So when the team are invited into the app, they're going to land on a page like this. It explains what's expected of them, and then they're taken into an area like this, which is these are the activities that are being tracked. So you did an activity earlier, which was, I think, just saying hello to the community.
Right.
We use Task in educational context in terms of absorption of information, and we use a bit of simple onboarding here, as you can see. If you hit the back button, you completed an activity earlier. Just close this down.
All right.
And close this and go over to the timeline. And yeah, scroll down a little bit and we'll see the activity that you completed. You can see you're there. You've now got a couple of awards because I sent a few awards over to you to kind of demonstrate that. We have a couple of different areas that the app works in terms of connecting people from an economic point of view. Is you've tracked an activity. I've seen on the timeline what you're up to. I like what you've done. I'm going to send awards through to you. It works a little bit in a similar style to Reddit, and I sent a couple of stellar assets over impact token, some impact tokens and a few lumens. If you scroll down, we saw Venki earlier that you said you send an award through to.
Yeah. Shout out to Venki.
He's down there.
So this is really cool. That. I mean, I love the social, so people are able to communicate, and I see all your typical things you'll see on Twitter, like buttons, comments, sharing ability, all those neat things.
Yeah. So what will now happen is the next stage, we get into roadmap later, but what we want to do is provide the smoothest possible onboard experience to allow donations to happen between people in completely disparate geographies. Here, because you've already got some lumens and impact tokens, you can tap award next to Venki. And we look at the tokens where there's trust in his wallet, trust and assets that you have in your wallet. So send him a couple of lumens, tap through. You can you got the
all right,
go next. You have the option to
let's see,
send him a message.
Join task. All right, Venki's now my friend. All right, so I hit confirm.
Yeah, great.
Look at that. How cool was that?
So,
all right.
So as we push the on-ramping, we'd like to make it so that anyone can, in-app purchase potentially of a very quick on-ramp of an asset, so you can send that through to someone at the other end. You close this and tap your profile in the top left. Mm-hmm. You've got transaction history. There's lots of
this is so clean, by the way. So clean.
Great. You tap in. I think everyone in the Stellar community has seen transactions before, but I think it's just good to see that that's happening in the background. What we want to do is create a non-technical experience. I mean, this is tucked away, but as I go on about, this has to pass the mum test, which is my mum picks this up and she is happy using the product.
And look at that, all on chain right here in the app. I didn't have to go anywhere or do anything, silly to try to figure this out. This is it's really clean, guys.
There's an important thing to point out here, because a lot of what we do is we're creating crypto oracles. I mean, you ask a question, you'll ask a question later, why are we using Stellar? What are the different use cases? And what we've kind of gone through a few, which is the payments, ability to connect people to awards, but we're also creating crypto oracles. We're creating data trails of validated data that's stored in the blockchain. So the information that you completed earlier has all been one-way hashed, and in the transaction, you then have in the memo field, we're storing one-way hash data. So we can use that for people to go back, look at data that's been stored. If you're a non-profit, you end up with a legacy data that proves your impact, and it's obviously immutable.
Wow. All on chain. That's really great. That's really great. Really great. I think it's a really good app that you guys have here.
Thank you.
So, I mean, kind of looking at, the great thing about Stellar is that, everyone seems to really benefit from the growth and the accomplishments of one organization. How are some of the ways that you would say that the Stellar network, Stellar community, kind of benefits from the work that you guys are doing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, number one, reason why we use Stellar, we started using Stellar about 2.5 years ago, and it was at the time it was all about, it was low cost, it was fast, it had great APIs. We chose Stellar because there was a number of advisors who helped us get Stellar onto the shortlist, and since then, there's been really the way that the anchors have grown so fast and furiously with Stellar. That has led to the kind of next phase of why Stellar is so important for us. And it ties into your question, how do we see ourselves connecting and being a part of the community? How do we support the Stellar mission? I mean, when we get down to the nuts and bolts of what we do, if Stellar is about the fluid transmission of money around the globe, then the task mission is to take that system and get the money into the right hands. And the way that we're doing that is, you've seen through tracking, transparency, providing reporting. We've got use cases we could go into where it's all about the brand reputation, the organizations that use us. How can we improve their brand? And so we underpin Stellar's mission by get money into the hands of the right people. Looking to bring the anchors in. We'll be rolling out SEP 24 initially, and then SEP 6. We'd like to get SEP 6 on all the anchors.
Nice.
And with that the development of Stellar and the projects that we're working on particular countries, it means that we're getting much more into the support of emerging economies in terms of flow of donor and investment funds. So, I suppose the last thing talking about our contribution to Stellar is the fact that we're going to get a lot of Stellar wallets into non-technical users.
Right.
We're currently on Protocol 15 mission. We're looking to bring in reclaimable balances, sponsored reserves. We want to make it, again, this mum test that I go on about all the time. We really want to take the Protocol 15 updates and make it so that when you're using the Task wallet, you don't need to know it's Stellar in the background, but it just works. And that's what we aim to do.
And that's definitely what I saw here. I mean, it just worked. It just works really smooth.
If I give an example, Sam, I probably should have done this at the beginning, explaining what we do. But it's just, I think, to back up what Steve's saying there in terms of the real live use case of this rollout. I mean, we're based in Thailand. We're not we're based here. We run the business from here. But where I am in the north, we have a real issue here with pollution, with burning. It's a seasonal problem, 2 months a year, agricultural burning. And we had a project we're working on with an NGO, and now that NGO could solve that problem by fundraising, going out and using that money to run a project. But what they're actually doing is integrating with the farming communities to incentivize these farmers to create biochar, which is a product that can be then put back into the soil rather than open burn. To do that, they've got to track these activities. They've got to give these farmers a way to track it. But these farmers need to know nothing about Stellar. But what they do need to be able to do is connect with the NGO, track the activity, receive ultimately fiat currency, probably. And they kind of that's all they need to know. So the Stellar, I suppose, just using this example, because I know, when we talk about the business at a technology layer, it's good to then kind of think about, well, how is that really applied? And for us, this kind of this marriage to Stellar is really critical in terms of Stellar's mission of almost kind of being hidden. I kind of hear Stellar talking about their technology will continue to be successful if people don't really see it. The stuff's getting done, the transactions are happening in the background, currencies are going cross border, and a farmer is getting paid for something he's done. So yeah, just to kind of support what Steve's saying there in terms of a use case, it kind of puts it, I think, into kind of real world thinking, that type of use case when you look at what we do.
No, it's not. That's great, and that's the smart. Is it the smart agro project that you were just talking about there?
That's actually not smart agro, but we have 2 or 3 of these projects, but they're all very similar because smart agros in Cambodia. This one is in Thailand, but they're all about some sort of change of behavior around, in this case, farming. And smart agriculture is a huge area right now, supported by the Gates Foundation, other foundations. So yeah, they're very similar. I mean, the smart agro one is Cambodia. It's changing. That's actually about regenerating soil with new seeds that go in. And again, same process. Seeds are planted, someone funds it. It changes the atmospheric conditions, better air. The farmer needs to get rewarded. In this case, actually, it'll be a case of purchasing seed rather than providing fiat currency. But ultimately, to do that, someone needs to go in and an activity needs to be tracked, tokens need to be purchased, and there needs to be tracking around that. I don't know if Steve, what you want to talk any more about that, because that really gets into the kind of smart contracting area. But yeah.
I mean, there is, could go on about it for hours, so I better watch myself. But there is, when you look at what nonprofits are trying to achieve, again, as I kind of rambled on at the beginning, there are reinventions of business models. I mean, there is a need to get funding through to the people that are on a dollar a day standard of living, and there are new systems which are so much more efficient. There's smart contracting is so interesting because you can start to protect donors. Donors can put money into projects that can be tranched out to communities. The community have an understanding that on the basis of activity and impact being measured, that the next tranche is coming out. If it's not done, the money goes back to the donors.
Wow.
You've got NFTs that provide certification and proof of having achieved something, which those people in communities can use to then again improve their livelihoods. So there's a massive conversation here in terms of how we could be improving these existing systems. You know, when we look at the task business, it's kind of a, how would I say, there's kind of two mindsets that we have to this business. I mean, number one is that we've got this classic SaaS business. We have a dozen customers at the moment. I mean, Matt, you can go into that more, but we have a dozen customers. It's monthly recurring revenue, classic SaaS, connecting remote teams. And while we're building that out, there are these extraordinary scale opportunities where it's much more B2C. And it's all about how could you change a business model? And we're running these pilots in Cambodia, Thailand. We have one in the Amazon that we're looking at. And these are experiments in new business models. And we believe that we'll discover some very exciting outcomes from it.
It's great to see the real world use that you guys are implementing here. About how many paying customers are you at right now?
We got a dozen paying customers right now. So for us, a customer
Wow.
is not just a user on the app. That's an organization with teams that's that's working on a project, tracking activities. So yeah, we've got about a dozen, and we're at the scale point now. So that those customers have really come on in a kind of 3-4 month period. And as we're at the point of we just signed some big partnership deals, and that's a real big part of our scale model now, how we get out to not just dozens but hundreds and thousands of customers. So yeah.
Right. You guys had just mentioned some pretty big announcements. You kind of alluded to, was it Clipfolio and Blackboard? Am I pronouncing these names correctly? Can you share a little bit about these organizations?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Blackboard is the big one. I mean, Clipfolio, Steve can maybe touch on it, but Blackboard is, and certainly with our nonprofit focus, Blackboard is huge. Blackboard are the biggest provider of nonprofit applications in the world. Big old company, been around I think 40 or so years in the software game, 26 or so years. I think 45,000 customers, of which, if I'm not wrong, around 30,000 are nonprofits. So yeah, it's a big client, and for us to be able to kind of get in there, and we're in their marketplace, so we built an integration into their platform. Blackboard is predominantly an internal system. If you're a big NGO, you're tracking volunteers, donations, donor activity. We then become this extension into the field. So hey, I'm using Blackboard, but I've got these teams over, in here, in this region, this country. I want to track that activity and bring it back into the Blackboard system. So really, I mean, that's, we just announced the actual kind of live integration. And in fact, we've done our kind of onboarding. We've got a call this week. But the encouraging thing for us is the blockchain element for us was a bit of a question mark around Blackboard. We don't, we're just kind of scratching at the surface initially and trying to understand, well, what are they doing? But, we've got calls this week, a workshop where we're already looking at a big NGO in Australia that is asking for blockchain because they want to track donations, because they need to go back to their donor community and present transparency. So yeah, massively exciting, and big part of our scale model is really kind of nurturing that relationship and working with their clients and kind of scaling out globally with them.
Man, that's really great. I know we have just a couple more minutes left. Wanted to talk about your team, because I know it's more than just you two that are working on here. And I remember doing some reading on you guys, and I'm looking at your board of advisors and investors. I was curious if you can share a little bit with the audience, some of the key people on your team, and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, in terms of our advisors, we now have 14 advisors.
Wow.
I think those advisors, but half advisors, half investors / advisors. And we have Alan Louch, Simran Mulchidani, who are long-term friends, they're ex JP Morgan, who then got into the blockchain space. They were involved with the, I always say it wrong, Liquid wallet that was set up a few years ago. So they come with some good experience in the blockchain space and have provided some great advice. We have Samira Khan. She is the global impact engagement lead at Salesforce.com. We have some interesting conversations with Salesforce for an ISV partnership there. And we should mention, by the way, that Mr. Goldberg, Brian, has joined as an advisor. We haven't officially announced it, but he
Nice.
is joining and providing advice to us, which is great news. So yeah, we have a great team around us. I mean, we're not a big company, but we've been lucky enough to bring in some great advice and investors.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So just to wrap things up, going forward, 2021, what's on the roadmap?
Well, get the on-ramping absolutely perfect. Make sure my mom is happy being on-ramped. That is number one. Yeah, we're gonna change things to use reclaimable balances, as I was mentioning earlier. We like the idea of allowing anyone to be able to send funds using Stellar in the Task app, and we just deal with it. So you don't have a Task account. You can send a mobile number. We'll send that person an SMS. We'll then onboard them into Task. We'll use a reclaimable balance methodology to make it so that we create a seamless payment system. That's really important. A lot of different work that we're doing in terms of kind of slightly boring stuff in terms of data tracking around barcodes and things like that, which is not very rock and roll, but needs to be done. The smart contracts, we've got some pilots in the Stellar turrets. So
Nice.
the work that Tyler's doing, we can see some really interesting use cases there that we're exploring, and that will be coming to fruition soon. I think the final one is NFTs.
Really?
The way that Stellar produces an NFT, which is currently it's not really tradable unless, I mean, obviously Lightment are creating tradable tokens, but say out the box native Stellar it's not tradable. But there's great uses there. If you ping out a Stroop to someone and you can hash in some certification, there's all sorts of use cases there. I mean, a very fast endpoint, perhaps, and tying back round to a customer story, as I think you mentioned Actasia before when we were talking, Sam.
Yes. Yeah.
Pei, who's a lovely lady who runs Actasia, is located in London, and we're working with a couple hundred volunteer vets through China. They're volunteering their time, and she gave us a mission. She says, "Look, these vets who give their time, they're profiling on Task. The mission there is to make it so they can go out and get better paid jobs. And I think when you look at NFTs and certification, that's how that all fits in there. So, when we look at Task, people are tracking activities. There's a social economic system that's being set up. But we're profiling, we're reputation building, and we're allowing people to develop and improve their livelihoods on a number of different angles, and that's a mission for us as a business.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, look, Steve, Matt, I really appreciate you guys taking the time today to communicate with the Stellar family and share about what you guys are working, show us your app, and I look forward to hopefully reconnecting with you at some point in the near future to get an update on what you guys have been doing next.
Well, we really appreciate your support, Sam. It's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cheers, Sam. Really enjoyed coming on, and we'll have you on our pod as well. So look forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, take care, everybody. You guys hang on tight. 420. I got Badali. They're doing some really big things in Bermuda, tokenizing currencies in Canada as well. So you don't want to miss that show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you soon.